So I'm back and I'm super excited because I have some very inspirational and motivational tips and tricks to get you in front of that camera. So my family and I actually just got back from our family vacation, and we actually went to Minnesota to see my dad's side of the family. But one of the things that really impacted me from this trip was getting to see all the albums that my grandmother had put together from her early teens all the way into her early stages of motherhood. My grandmother actually died when my dad was 4, and me and my sister had always kind of been curious about who she was. What was your relationship with her? Do you even remember? What I saw during this trip was all of his brothers, all of their kids, me and my sister just diving into these photo albums. And I was so inspired because when I looked around, I got teary-eyed, and I'm definitely a crier. I am totally a crier. And I just felt like, man, like we've never met this woman, but look at how she's so greatly impacted this family. And the only pieces that we have left of her are these images. What I found out was that her side of the family, and her maiden name is Hayes, her married name is McDermott. When she was taking these images, cameras were a very limited resource, and those who had cameras, not only did you have to have the camera, but you had to have the light bulb for every individual image that was taken, because in the 30s and 40s, when the camera would go off, the light bulb would explode, and you would essentially get one image per exploding light bulb. And yet they found enough value in savoring some of these moments. And what was even more inspiring is that half the moments were just of her. Looking at these images, both me and my sister were so incredibly intense in the pursuit of how we could find identity in her, and did her eyes match hers, or does her smile match, or is her cheekbones like our cheekbones? And I saw myself in her, in the creative aspects of what she was doing, not just for herself, but now what she's done for the family that has come underneath her and are so intrigued by her. And I just felt the release of freedom to come back to doing Do You Even Selfie, and doing it with a different sort of passion because of what I was able to take away from my grandmother. So I wanted to show you a couple of these pictures before we dive into my tips and tricks for Do You Even Selfie today. But just be inspired to leave a legacy for your kids. And what's great about my grandmother Hayes is that she wasn't a model. She wasn't. She was a mother of 5 kids, 4 boys, 1 girl. She was a wife, but she also was a woman. And so I wanted to show you a couple of pictures that were my favorite of her just celebrating herself as a woman and getting in front of that camera with all of her gorgeous curves and just rocking it. So here's some of the details that I wanted to share with you, where she was just sitting in the garden, some self-portraits, getting her family involved in the images, and just taking awesome images of herself, like hello to the bow. I would literally die to have that bow. But here she is, in just all of her beauty. No fashion required, not even a lot of makeup required. Just getting in front of the camera left us the only legacy that we would ever have of her. And what she didn't know was all of the people that she would inspire by doing this, which would be namely first me. You just never know who it is that you're going to inspire by telling your story through images. And we all know that images are super powerful. Alright guys, so I actually decided to slim down into actually just a little tank top, which I'm not super happy about being in something so skin tight on a video. But I want to be real with you. So what I would like to point out is, if I were going to take a picture with my friends, this is what I would look like if I just kind of stood still, stood straight. But I want to show you what I do to angle and position my body to give a more flattering look for an image. What I do is I pivot my weight onto one hip. And all of a sudden you can kind of see the direction that this is going here in the video. With this other leg, you can either stance it out, you can roll the knee in if you want to create more of an hourglass shape. Same thing if you're looking onto the camera and you really shrink. Do you see that already happening? So going from this to just popping my hip out creates this look. So from here, cheese, to here, boom, just like that. All of a sudden I have a more defined look in the image that kind of accents my 3D look of beautiful body. All right, so pulling onto one hip, popping the hip out. Now, most girls have the little pooch here, whether it's from pregnancy like mine or you're on a fitness journey, that's totally fine. Whenever I do my selfies, of it like a workout. I really do. I treat the selfie like a workout because what I want to do is tighten up everything. So I'm not falsifying my body. I'm just contracting it to be a little bit more toned. So when I tighten in my stomach, I hold my abs in, push all my weight to one hip. What you want to do with your arm, because this looks kind of silly, right, is you want to pull the elbow back. And in doing so, what you just created is a visual of this arch. And that's really what you want to see in your selfie image. You want to create this hole that shows the definition of your waistline being accentuated in a very beautiful form. Is once I get this hip, I just think about pulling my elbow back and keeping this hand really soft. You can either keep it soft or you can drop it straight down. And you see a lot of girls do this work too, where it's kind of a little bit behind their hip. They're creating this arch, they're creating this really beautiful curve in their clothing line, they're accentuating their hip line here, and now you have this more curvier. So now back to a regular outfit with a shirt on. Sometimes I wear these blousier outfits just because this is my little pooch problem area, but needless to say, you can already see as I roll onto one hip and I drop this behind, I still got this really nice curve. This is not the focal point. This more is the focal point of just accenting some of my hips and some of my waistline. But it's in the leaning to one hip, getting that hip to start the flow of a body movement, and then pulling those elbows back to really capture in to that waistline to show that curve. All right, guys, be inspired, be empowered. Do you even selfie? Get on it. So if you're feeling a little bit more inspired to get in front of the camera and take a picture of yourself using your whole body, I would love to see it. So please, please, please test out a few of these tips, post it on social media, tag Leisha McDermott or tag me on Instagram, Leisha_M, because I'd love to check out what you're doing. And if you have a grandmother who was really into photography and she took selfies of herself, I would love, love, love to see it and continue to be inspired by the women before us. Thank you again, guys, for tuning in. You can always subscribe below for more